Okay, so in the last video we blocked out the animation of Luxo lamp. Now let's go and tidy it up and make it look pretty. So the first thing we want to do is go back to the beginning. That's at frame 1, and let's just make sure that actually let's just play what we've got just to see what we've got and look at the really obvious problems. Now the first obvious problem that leaps out at us is that as the lamp is leaping off the ground between frame 109 and frame 113, the base of the lamp is actually moving downwards. And if I look here in the orthographic side view, you can see the lamp actually moving down as the head of the lamp lifts up. Now that's obviously a mistake. The lamp base should not start moving until the whole thing lifts off the ground. We don't want it moving between 109 and 111. So what I'm going to do is to lock that down is I'm going to click on make sure I've got that lamp base control selected, and then I'm going to use my middle mouse. I'm going to click on the middle mouse button and drag it over to frame 111 and hit S on my keyboard. And what that does is it locks down the value of the it takes the value of the body control at 109 and sorry, didn't mean to do that. It takes the value of the control at frame 109 and moves it over to frame 111. And I'm just going to hit A in the graph editor so we can really get a close view of what's going on. Now for some reason we've got keyframes set at frame 0. And we don't need that, so I'm going to go ahead and delete it. I'm going to hit backspace on that, and now I'm going to hit A again in the graph editor so we can see all of this nice and clear. And we want to go, let's click on the base control again, set the base control again at frame 1 just to make sure that all the channels are set. Let's check each curve in turn. I'm clicking on the translate Y control and I'm clicking A in the graph editor. Now you can see that between 111 and 113 we've got some motion in that base control. So between 111 and 112 that base control is still going down, and that's because we've got a little bit of a curve here in the Y translation. We don't really want that. The reason we've got that is because we're in spline mode in the graph editor. I'll just go into my animation preferences button, click on that, and I'll show you under animation. If I click on animation, you'll see we're in spline mode in the graph editor there. That's the intangents and the outtangents are splined, which is fine. We want that, but what that means is that Maya's going to give us these funny little overshoots here, and we don't want that. So what I'm going to do is select that control point there and then flatten it using the flatten tangents button here, and that will flatten that. We just saw that happen, and now hopefully the base should stay still as the lamp is lifting off. Now it's still moving. It's not moving in the y-axis anymore, but it is moving in the other axes, so I need to go through the other ones as well. So translate X and translate Z, and you can see we've got a big overshoot here in translate Z. So once again I'm going to click on that and flatten that tangent off there. So now hopefully the base should be more or less stable. It's not, there's still some wobble. It looks like there's some rotation going on there. So we're going to have to check the rotation. So let me go to rotate X, hit A, and again we've got the same problem. So I'm going to flatten that tangent, rotate Y. That doesn't look, yes, it looks like we've got a little bit of a wobble there. Flatten that tangent, rotate, whoops, rotate Z, and we've got a little bit of a wobble in that tangent, so I'm going to flatten that one off too. So now hopefully, good, now hopefully now the base is locked down between 111 and 113, and what we were doing there was locking down what's called loose keys, and in general you don't want loose keys in animation. So that's looking much better now. And as we scrub through the timeline here, which you'll find yourself doing a lot in when you're animating, scrubbing through the timeline, we can see that it's all looking pretty good. Now, we're going to have to set another keyframe here because, let's see, 113, I think that if I just look at my thumbnails, let's just check the thumbnails again to remind ourselves of what's going on. Between 113 and 117, we probably actually want a breakdown position here, where the base, where the lamp is actually sort of standing on his tiptoes, as it were, between these 2 points. It's not in the thumbnails, but I think we're going to need it. And I think I'm going to put that here at frame 115. So what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to rotate that down and move that down like that, so that we've got, and there's a lot of just kind of fiddling around with stuff in and what I'm also going to do now is pull that up a little bit with when you're perfecting animation. I'm just going to move this up here so we get a nicer arc on the head. There's a lot of tweaking things frame by frame. It is very painstaking. We don't need to see that joint there. I'm just going to turn joints off. Show joints. I'm just going to turn that off. That was a joint that was poking out. We didn't need it. So, and we're actually, you can see there between 113 and 114, we're getting some annoying penetration of the ground plane there on this control. So I'm actually going to lift that up slightly so that it hugs the ground properly. Okay, now let's just test that. Let's just press play. Okay, so that's now looking much better. And we can see when we scrub through it that it's all looking pretty good. And it's very much frame by frame here. You have to do every frame correctly, but you need that sort of lift off position where you really feel the lamp straining, pushing itself off almost a straight position, and then it compresses here at frame 117, and then starts to stretch out as it comes in for the landing. And we might just want to set another keyframe. We actually want to check the arc on the head. The arc on the head feels a little bit strange, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this control, and I'm going to show you a new little tool here, which is called the motion control tool, or motion trail tool, I should say. And it's under animate, create animated. Oh, it used to be called create animated sweep. I think they must have changed the name in Maya 2013, but you know, they do that all the time, so one just has to get used to it. So I'm going to click on that button there, and now it's gonna what Maya will do is create a little motion trail for us there. Actually, I'm just going to click Z to undo that, and I'm just going to do that again. Animate, create animation sweep. I'm going to open up the options box. So we want it from 101 to 141. Make sure we set the settings properly, and we'll do it by every 2 frames. How about that? No, actually, let's try 1. Okay, and now anim sweep. Oh, okay, that's a very, very odd result. That was not what I had intended at all. So I must have the wrong control. So let's go to animate. Okay, sorry. What I wanted was create editable motion trail. So I was using entirely the wrong tool. So forgive me for that. So the increment should be every frame. So that all looks good. So let's click create motion trail. Oh, and we haven't selected an object. There we go. Select the object, select the control, and now create motion trail. And now what that does is it gives us a little motion trail for the head, and you can see there that we've got something we've got a little kink in this motion trail going in around at basically at frame 117. And what you can do in Maya is you can actually edit this motion trail. So for example, we can move that there, and we can sort of move that one there a little bit, and then we can move that one there. So we can make this, we can actually adjust the trail to make it look smoother, and hopefully, having done that, that will give us a slightly nicer path on the head. This is a really nice little feature in Maya here, that you can actually adjust these little points to adjust your animation, so you can make that part smoother. Remember what we learned in the section about arcs, how important it is to do arcs. So this is a way of making your arc smooth by having Maya show you the arc, and actually even here at the end we're slightly getting ahead of ourselves, but I can see that this end bit here is a little bit abrupt. What we want to do is move this guy back a little bit so we get a bit more of a slow in at the end there. So the editable motion trail is an incredibly useful tool. So, and actually I think we'll go in and change that one as well, so we get more of an ease in at the end on that head, so it's moving forward and slowing in to the final position. Much better.